So today I'm going to be making waist jackets. Now I have made so far these. I've made probably around 25, 27 of these so far, but I forgot to show you. How to make it. So I've got some leftover fabrics, which is scraps, and that's what I'm going to make it out of. So this is going to be patchwork jackets, and you will see that you don't have to really waste any of your fabric. You can make quite a lot of stuff out of scraps, and by the time I finish it, this jacket, you won't even have known that it's made out of scrap. And that's what shops do. They make something and then they use the rest of the fabric. So on the table I've got some pieces here, the biggest piece that I found. So I'm going to use these scraps and I'm going to put some red in it for the collar. Now here's the pattern. This is the pattern, which is the back of the pattern. Because I haven't got enough fabric, the back of my jacket is going to be in either two pieces or one. So it's going to have a join at the back, or if I can't fit it all on to my scraps, then I will make a join somewhere where the dart is, so it looks kind of original or authentic. But it just becomes another style. But nobody would be the wiser. But it will be patch. Or maybe as well, I might join it at the side here to extend it. So you'll see this. So I'm going to get on with it and see what I can get out of this, and then I will show you afterward. Right, here you can see my pattern. I've extended it up at the top and I've extended it there. But as you can see, the pattern, which I'm going to remove, is in one piece. But the fabric underneath it is not. You can see that it's joined there. So I've allowed for seam allowance here. So by the time I've stitched it up, it will go over there. And that completes my pattern. So that's the first step that I've done, which is my patchwork. Now I'm going to put the marks in for the darts. So that's the front done. Now I'm going to get on and do the back. So that's that. When I'm making more than one of garments, for instance when I made 27 of these and I cut them all at one time, these darts which are here, I need to mark all of them so they're all in the same place. What I do is I have a candle and I hot my needle up and I pierce a hole through the whole lot. But be careful that you don't melt too much. So I just quickly touch it and paste a hole through it. And then that shows up when I'm sewing. So I look for the hole and I mark everything at the same time. So that's a tip for you when you're doing more than one garment, or you just do it the old-fashioned way and use butterfly stitches. But this is very quick when I do it this way. So that's done. And then let me do my markings for the bottom. You won't be able to see the holes, but it's there. You've done that. You have to stitch through the whole lot, then you go through and then you cut it. and that's your marking. So that's two ways of doing your marking. So this is now ready to stitch together, so I'll stitch this up together and show you. Right, here I should explain as well. I've extended the side, and the reason why I've extended the side and the shoulder, which I didn't explain to you fully, is because this person that I'm making it for, she's a size 22. This pattern only goes up to a size 16. So I'm extended as well as patchwork. So here we are. 16 finishes there. There is the waist to make sure these match up. So I've left the fabric on top of each other and then cut. So I'm getting rid of the bit that didn't match up. Put the two together so when I stitch it, it matches back up. But I've also allowed a seam allowance as well. So it'll go roughly there. And the sleeve will maintain and go on. So here we have now the back has got a dart in it. But what I also did as well is I left a seam allowance at the back of the jacket. So in effect it goes up like that. That's where it goes. And there is my seam allowance, so that'll be fine. And what I'm going to do once again, is that I'm going to prick some holes through this for the marking of the dart. So that's my pattern. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and stitch the side up so you can see it. See now, we have the back and we have the two fronts. Now I have left them and I haven't stitched up the darts so that you can see it before I do so. So here we have it, and there it is. There's a join there, there's a join there, a join there, and a join there. And then we'll stitch up, these are the shoulders and your armhole. So we're going to have two darts. We're going to have one dart in the back here, and we're going to have two darts in the front here. But by the time you've got two darts in the front here, this will almost look like a third dart. So it will fit into place. But before I stitch the darts up, I've also got to use this as my template and cut the lining out. Why? Because I've extended this. So I'll now use this as my template for my lining, because this jacket is going to be lined. And then out of scraps, once again, out of scraps, I'm going to get the lapels for the front and the pocket. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Now that both top and bottom is done, so that is the lining and that is the main fabric. The shoulders are not done here, and the reason being is, before you can sew these two shoulders together, we've got to sew this first. So we've got to line the yoke with its lining. So one on top of the other, stitch from there around. And what I've done is, on the lining I've split it here, so that it will be, by the time I do the two together, they will be exactly the same place. But I haven't stitched or split it on the main fabric. That's where I would get a perfect and a duplicate of each one. So I'm going to go and stitch these two now before we can put this on the front face of the jacket. Now that I've stitched these two together, the lining is now on. The lining is now on. The collar. But what I did when I was stitching this section here, in order to get this here perfect and an almost mirror image, is what I did is I stitched from the top, continuing all the way around non-stop on both sides. Then after I've done that, then I pick up the foot, and then I stitch from that point down and off, and then back stitched it to make sure that it's well secured, because we're going to be cutting into the fabric and it will be weave. And I did the same here. So I stitched all the way down non-stop going, then I went back and I tackled this area, and I stitched it there and back stitch it.